What truly separates human survivors from those who succumb to extreme challenges lies not in physical prowess, but in the intricate landscape of psychological resilience. Survival is a complex mental terrain where inner strength, adaptability, and strategic thinking determine one's ultimate fate. Our exploration reveals that beneath the surface of survival techniques exists a profound psychological framework that transforms ordinary individuals into extraordinary survivors. When confronted with life-threatening scenarios, the human mind becomes both our greatest vulnerability and most powerful asset. Military survival experts have long understood that emotional regulation represents the critical first line of defense against potentially fatal circumstances. Their research demonstrates that panic is exponentially more dangerous than any external environmental threat. By maintaining systematic thinking and emotional control, trained survivors can methodically deconstruct seemingly insurmountable challenges into manageable micro-decisions. Wilderness survival specialists offer a complementary perspective emphasizing adaptive problem-solving and cognitive flexibility. Their approach recognizes that rigid thinking creates fatal vulnerabilities, while mental agility becomes the true survival mechanism. These experts teach that survival isn't about possessing perfect skills, but about maintaining psychological plasticity, the capacity to rapidly reassess, recalibrate, and improvise when initial strategies collapse. This mental framework transforms potential defeat into dynamic opportunity. Indigenous survival traditions introduce a radically different paradigm, viewing survival through a holistic lens that integrates psychological, spiritual, and practical dimensions. Unlike Western technical approaches, these time-tested strategies perceive humans as fundamentally interconnected with their environment. Their mental model doesn't separate survival from spiritual experience, but understands it as a profound dialogue between human consciousness and surrounding ecological systems. This perspective transforms survival from a mechanical challenge into a deeply relational experience. Cutting-edge psychological research reveals fascinating insights into human neurochemistry during crisis scenarios. Scientists have discovered that individuals capable of triggering controlled adrenaline responses and managing cortisol levels demonstrate dramatically enhanced survival capabilities. This isn't about suppressing fear, but strategically channeling physiological stress responses into precise, calculated actions. The most successful survivors don't eliminate fear. They transform it into a powerful cognitive tool. Extreme athletes and global explorers represent another critical survival strategy, cultivating what researchers call adaptive resilience. These individuals don't merely endure challenges. They psychologically reframe potentially traumatic experiences as opportunities for personal transformation. Their mental model transcends traditional survival paradigms, viewing extreme scenarios not as threats to be survived, but as crucibles for profound personal growth and self-discovery. Understanding these diverse survival approaches reveals a fundamental truth: no single strategy guarantees survival. Instead, these frameworks offer sophisticated psychological tools that dramatically improve one's chances of navigating extreme circumstances. The most successful survivors aren't necessarily the strongest or most technically skilled, but those who can most effectively manage their internal psychological landscape. Mental preparation emerges as the critical differentiator between those who perish and those who persevere. Physical training, equipment, and technical skills matter, but they become secondary to psychological readiness. The human mind's capacity to remain calm, analyze complex scenarios, and generate creative solutions represents our most sophisticated survival mechanism. Survival is fundamentally an internal journey before it becomes an external struggle. As our exploration demonstrates, survival transcends mere physical preservation. It represents a profound testament to human adaptability, resilience, and the extraordinary potential of conscious awareness. By understanding these multifaceted mental strategies, individuals can develop a more nuanced, holistic approach to confronting life's most challenging scenarios. The most powerful survival tool isn't found in a wilderness kit or emergency manual. It resides within the complex, remarkable architecture of human consciousness. Ultimately, survival is less about what happens to us and more about how we choose to respond. Our psychological framework determines not just whether we survive, but how we emerge from challenging experiences. By cultivating mental flexibility, emotional regulation, and a profound understanding of our inner resources, we transform survival from a passive state of endurance into an active process of personal metamorphosis. Imagine this: 87% of people believe they could survive a life-threatening situation, but statistical evidence suggests less than 20% actually have the mental resilience to endure extreme challenges. Welcome to Survival Mind Games, where we decode the psychological blueprints that determine who lives and who doesn't. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of survival psychology, exploring 5 radically different approaches that reveal survival isn't just about physical skill, but about the incredible power of the human mind. Our journey begins with the military precision model, championed by elite special forces training. These professionals understand that survival starts long before the crisis hits. Their approach is systematic, calculated, and rooted in rigorous psychological conditioning. Imagine being dropped into an Arctic wilderness with nothing but a knife and your training. Military survival experts don't just prepare physically. They meticulously train their mental frameworks to remain calm, analytical, and strategic under extreme pressure. Consider the case of Lieutenant Marcus Rodriguez, a Navy SEAL who survived 72 hours in the dense Colombian rainforest after his team was separated during a covert operation. His survival wasn't luck, it was a product of intense mental training. Rodriguez didn't panic when communication was lost. Instead, he systematically assessed his environment, prioritized immediate needs, and maintained emotional equilibrium. His brain was a finely tuned survival machine, processing information rapidly while managing stress hormones that could potentially paralyze less trained individuals. Contrast this with the indigenous wisdom approach, represented by traditional survival techniques passed through generations. Indigenous communities, like the Inuit in Arctic regions or Amazon rainforest tribes, have developed survival strategies deeply connected to environmental understanding and emotional harmony. Their method isn't about conquering nature, but integrating with it. Where military training emphasizes control, indigenous approaches focus on adaptation and respectful coexistence. Take the remarkable story of an Amazonian hunter who survived 12 days after being separated from his hunting group. He didn't rely on high-tech equipment or military protocols. Instead, he read the forest's subtle signals, understood animal behaviors, and maintained a calm, almost meditative state that conserved energy and kept his decision-making clear. His survival wasn't about aggressive tactics, but about understanding and flowing with his environment. These two approaches might seem fundamentally opposed, one structured and disciplined, the other intuitive and fluid. But here's the fascinating revelation: both models share a critical psychological foundation. Whether you're a trained soldier or an indigenous hunter, survival demands emotional regulation, situational awareness, and the ability to manage fear. Our third model introduces the psychological resilience framework, which transcends traditional survival training. Developed by trauma psychologists and studied across multiple high-stress scenarios, This approach suggests that survival is 80% mental and 20% practical skills. It's not about having the most advanced equipment or knowing every wilderness technique. It's about cultivating mental flexibility, emotional intelligence, and the capacity to reframe challenges. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, a leading researcher in survival psychology, has studied hundreds of case studies ranging from mountain climbing accidents to maritime disasters. Her groundbreaking research reveals a consistent pattern. Survivors aren't necessarily the strongest, fastest, or most technically skilled. They're individuals who can quickly adapt their mental models, maintain hope, and make rational decisions under extreme stress. The fourth approach we'll explore is the technology-enhanced survival strategy. In our modern world, survival isn't just about wilderness scenarios. It's about navigating complex, unpredictable environments, whether that's a natural disaster, a global pandemic, or a technological breakdown. This model leverages advanced psychological tools, predictive algorithms, and real-time stress management technologies. Imagine wearable devices that monitor your physiological responses, providing instant feedback to help you regulate anxiety. Or augmented reality systems that can overlay survival instructions directly into your field of vision. These aren't science fiction scenarios, they're emerging technologies that are transforming how we understand human survival capabilities. Our final model represents the holistic mind-body integration approach. This perspective argues that survival isn't a singular skill, but a complex interaction between mental, physical, and spiritual dimensions. Drawing from practices like meditation, martial arts, and advanced breathing techniques, this model suggests that true survival requires a harmonized state of being. Practitioners of this approach train not just their bodies, but their entire consciousness. They understand that in a crisis, your first survival tool is your mind. Through practices like controlled breathing, visualization techniques, and emotional regulation exercises, they create a resilient internal environment that can withstand external challenges. So what's the ultimate truth about survival? After examining these 5 distinct approaches, one profound insight emerges. Survival is less about external skills and more about internal capacity. It's about your ability to remain calm, adapt quickly, and maintain hope when everything seems impossible. Whether you're a military professional, an indigenous wisdom keeper, a technology enthusiast, or a holistic practitioner, the core of survival remains the same. It's about understanding yourself, managing your emotions, and maintaining an unwavering belief in your capacity to overcome. As we conclude our exploration, remember this: survival isn't just about what happens to you, but how you choose to respond. Your mind is your most powerful survival tool. Train it well, respect its complexity, and you'll be prepared for whatever challenges life might throw your way. What separates those who survive from those who perish when confronted with impossible odds? Beyond muscle and equipment, the most critical survival tool is hidden between your ears. In this groundbreaking exploration, we'll dissect 5 extraordinary survival approaches that reveal survival is a psychological battlefield where mental resilience determines your fate. Imagine being stranded in an unforgiving wilderness, facing temperatures that could kill you in hours, with nothing but your wits and inner strength. Physical training matters, but psychological preparation is the true difference between life and death. Our investigation reveals survival isn't about heroic actions, but about calculated mental strategies that transform ordinary humans into extraordinary survivors. The first approach comes from military survival experts, who emphasize emotional regulation under extreme stress. Their core principle: panic kills faster than any external threat. By maintaining calm and systematic thinking, trained survivors can transform seemingly hopeless situations into opportunities for rescue and survival. Their mental toolkit includes techniques like compartmentalization, where complex challenges are broken into manageable micro-decisions. Wilderness survival specialists offer a second perspective rooted in adaptive problem-solving. They teach that survival isn't about having perfect skills, but about maintaining flexibility and creativity when plans inevitably collapse. These experts understand that rigid thinking leads to fatal mistakes. Instead, they cultivate a mindset of continuous learning and immediate improvisation. Indigenous survival traditions provide our third approach, emphasizing profound environmental awareness and spiritual connection. Unlike Western technical perspectives, these strategies view survival as a holistic experience integrating psychological, spiritual, and practical dimensions. Their mental framework sees